Welcome to the Thrive in Fashion podcast, where we explore the role of the fashion buyer, the knowledge and skill sets required for success, and the impact of the role in your retail business. In each episode, you will learn about industry best practice and how the buyer's role is evolving in this ever-changing, fast-paced industry. And now, here is your host, a fashion industry expert with over 20 years of experience, Elisabeth Mac Hale.
Developing private label product and working directly with overseas factories involves a process that ranges from initial design and sampling to price negotiation, order confirmation, production and delivery. Buyers typically navigate this process multiple times within a buying season, collaborating with multiple factories and multiple vendors. Hello and welcome to another episode of Thrive in Fashion. I'm your host, Elisabeth Mac Hale. Whether you are a seasoned professional or new to the industry, my goal in this episode is to explain the best strategies to help you streamline your product development process when creating private label products. The challenges you face can vary widely depending on your relationship with the manufacturer, the time frame for product delivery, and the clarity of your communication. To manage these effectively, it really is essential that you follow your critical path. And today I want to explain some of the key strategies to simplify your product development process and ensure a smoother path from concept to final product. Let's start with the foundation of your product development process, the design brief. This is the primary document that communicates your vision and requirements to the manufacturer. And a clear and detailed design brief is crucial for a number of reasons, particularly if you are communicating via email and sending out this design brief ahead of a face-to-face meeting. First of all, it will allow your manufacturer to understand what you're looking for, to start to estimate the cost of the garment and production. Providing detailed specifications help prevent any misunderstanding, which could lead to inaccurate costings. Secondly, a thorough design brief ensures that the final product will also meet your specifications in terms of quality, aesthetic, and functionality. An effective design brief should include an illustration or CAD drawing or reference images that depict your product's appearance. It may be a previous season style that you want to modify. The more visual information you provide, especially where English is not everybody's first language, the better the manufacturer can understand your vision. If you are sitting face-to-face, it can be easier to explain the details, but in most cases, you should have a correct and accurate written record of what you are requesting, as this is what your costing will be based on, but also this is the information that you will be placing in your order form if it reaches that stage. You also need to provide detailed dimensions or specs, materials, colors, and any finishes or trims that you request for the product. This level of detail helps the manufacturer source the materials but also cost accurately for all of the components that you want on your garment. In addition to the design brief and the specifications, you also need to be very clear on what your target price is, what your order quantity is, and this can include the size ratio, the color breakdowns, and your delivery breakdown schedule. And if you are buying FOB, then it is the ship date that you want to confirm from your manufacturer. It's important that this is laid out clearly so that it will fit into your critical path and your launch timeline. Once your designs are in work, you will move on to your initial samples or the proto samples. This is the first representation of your design. If it is a new design, it allows you to evaluate your product's appearance and quality before committing or proceeding to confirm the order or even proceed to mass production. Providing constructive and accurate feedback on these samples is crucial, particularly for the first sample. This is your opportunity to correct any mistakes or misunderstandings or misinterpretations about the garment. Remember, you don't have time for multiple changes and multiple to and fro on your garment if you're planning to stick to your critical path. When providing feedback, remember, be specific. Give as much detailed and specific feedback on anything that needs an improvement and prioritize and make clear what the critical changes are to avoid overwhelming the manufacturer with minor, small tweaks. Using any visual aids or videos or images to illustrate your modifications always mean that you end up with a better product. Getting clear and detailed feedback reduces the number of changes that are needed, which saves time and costs and resources. It also ensures that the final product will align closely to your expectation. There shouldn't be any surprises by the time you reach your production garment. While the sample approval process is underway, you will also be looking at other pre-production approvals, which are critical checkpoints in your product development process. And these will help ensure that the final product will meet your requirements and quality standards. So some of these include lab dips, which are the small fabric samples dyed to match specific color that you've requested. Approving lab dips ensures color consistency across the production run. Strike-offs are printed fabric samples used to verify your requested pattern or print, and it really is essential to review these carefully to ensure that the final product looks exactly as what you had planned and what you have requested. Once you reach PP sample or pre-production sample stage, these should really closely resemble the final product in appearance and quality and function. Reviewing these PP samples thoroughly and paying attention to the details such as the stitching and the fit and the trims and the labeling is really important. Make sure that you provide feedback and request any final adjustments as needed before giving the final approval. The production sample is the definitive version of your product, and this should incorporate all of your approved changes and specs. It serves as your standard against which the entire production run is measured. So when your product comes into stores, if there are any discrepancies, this is the garment that you will be referring to. It's your last chance to catch any issues before mass production begins. Some of the things to consider for the production sample include your label and packaging. Ensure that all of your labeling, tags, and packaging meets your requirements and standards. And this can include things like your care label, your size tag, your packaging materials. In some cases, you may be required to confirm barcodes and ensure that these are scanning correctly before production. Quality control requires a comprehensive check to confirm the production sample meets all of the specified criteria. Ensure that you have a comprehensive quality check to confirm that the production sample meets all of the specified criteria. And this might involve testing for functionality and appearance, but the quality control process will include any testing requirements that may be mandatory for either your category or your region in which you are trading. Once you're satisfied with the production sample, you need to give a final approval to proceed with the bulk production. And this step is crucial to avoid any surprises once the product is underway. Now that we've covered the preparation and the approval stages, let's talk about managing the production and delivery process. Here is where effective communication and management come into play. Maintaining clear and consistent communication with your manufacturer is really crucial throughout the production process. And it's not just about being clear and consistent, but ensure that you reply in a timely manner. Remember, your critical path has a finite number of days and timeline in which you need to complete this development process. By not reverting quickly or on time to the supplier with any answers about the samples or about production will cause delays. Having regular updates and prompt responses can prevent misunderstandings and launch delays. It's also important to establish and monitor the key production milestones and ensure overall that progress stays on track. Implementing regular quality checks at the different stages of production will help catch and address any issues early. Being more proactive will save you from any last-minute fixes or unforeseen errors and ensure that your final product meets your standards. Planning and coordinating shipping arrangements will be the responsibility of the supplier, but the most important thing in this whole process is ensuring that once you have agreed your pricing, your costs with the supplier, that they get a confirmed order. In a lot of cases, a supplier will not proceed to purchase any of the materials, the trims, the labeling, or proceed to manufacture the order without a confirmed written order from your company. If you don't provide this, You are liable to lose the production slot that you had negotiated for, and as a result, you will miss the launch deadline for which you wanted this product to be on the shop floor. One of the best ways to stay on track of your critical path is having regular updates and having a schedule for regular updates, both with your manufacturer and internally with your team. This can be weekly or bi-weekly, depending on how complex or what the timeline is of your particular range or launch dates. These updates will help keep everyone on the same page and make all of the stakeholders accountable for their responsibility along the critical path. It will also allow you to foresee if any adjustments are required in terms of timing. Make sure that you document all the communication and decisions. This includes meeting notes, emails, and feedback. Make sure that you date any of the approvals that you confirm with your supplier. Having a clear record helps avoid misunderstandings and provides a reference point if any issues arise. When you are working with overseas factories, be mindful of the language barriers and cultural differences. Use simple, clear language and be respectful of cultural norms. More and more companies are using technology tools like project management software, or PLM for short, online meetings, and instant messaging to facilitate communication. Sometimes the introduction of new software can take some time to learn and understand. But stick with it, it does make life easier, and particularly with PLM, it means that both you and your supplier have access to the most up-to-date and real-time information about the status of your styles. These tools can be really helpful when you are working across different time zones and locations. Building strong relationships with your supplier is one of the most important aspects of successful product development. A good relationship can lead to better communication and better outcomes. They can really help you when you run into difficulties or face challenges and need to get extra stock at short notice. Don't be afraid to ask their opinion on a style if you have questions. Sometimes they will give you feedback, regardless. I do remember one incident where a junior buyer was going back and forth on a style issue with the supplier. The buyer gave me the details of the problem, and in the meantime the supplier contacted me to explain her point of view and tell me that frankly the style was ugly. I couldn't help but laugh and agree. In the end, we went back to the drawing board to redesign the style into something prettier and even better. Treat your manufacturers with respect and professionalism, and remember that they are your partners in the product development process. Be transparent as possible about what you need, what your expectations are, and the constraints within which you're working. This will help to build trust and develop your professional relationship with them. Aim to build long-term partnerships rather than one-off transactions. I'm still connected with suppliers from my very early days in buying, and I really value this business relationship. Manufacturers want your styles to be successful, and it is in both your interests that they sell well. Another thing I like to do is provide constructive feedback each season about a supplier's performance and acknowledge either their good work or good deliveries, and vice versa, welcome their viewpoints and see where both sides can improve, whether this is in communications or deliveries, etc. Even with the best plans, challenges and unforeseen circumstances are inevitable in product development. Every season is different, and invariably something will crop up that was unexpected and cause an issue in your perfectly organised critical path. The key is to navigate these challenges effectively and mitigate the risk as much as possible. Stay flexible and be prepared to adapt to any changes. Whether it's a delay in material delivery or a sudden change in market demand, being adaptable can help you to navigate these unexpected challenges. Finally, I just want to touch on continuous improvement and learning. The product development process is an ongoing journey, and there's always room for improvement. After your product is launched, do have a thorough review of the entire process, or even take notes as you go along. Identify what worked well and what could be improved next season. Establish a feedback loop with your suppliers, manufacturers, and the team members, and use this to make continuous improvements to the process. Invest in training if required for your team, as a well-trained team is better equipped to handle the challenges and drive continuous improvement. And there you have it. By preparing a comprehensive design brief, providing accurate tech specs, giving feedback on initial samples, giving timely approvals on the PP samples, you can simplify your product development process and ensure a successful outcome. Effective communication, strong relationships with your suppliers, and navigating challenges and focusing on continuous improvement are the key to making this process much more successful. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share the show. For more of Elisabeth's industry tips and to learn more about how you can develop your buying skills, visit thriveinfashion.com. There you can find show notes for this episode and every episode. Also, register for the Thrive in Fashion program and sign up for weekly news delivered straight to your inbox. Until next time.